knowing when to take your profit. If it doesn't hit your take profit, like, but it gets so close, but you're like, no, it's so close. Just take it. Like, whatever, the extra couple $100 or $1,000, whatever it is, like, it won't make that big of a difference. What will make a difference is if it goes back to your entry, which has happened to me multiple times.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another TFT interview. Today, I have the pleasure to host Steven from Miami. Welcome, Steven.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Excited to be here.
So, can you first introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you into trading.
Yeah, I'm born and raised in Miami. Got into trading as I saw an opportunity with crypto, trying to trade that, but like most people in crypto, got burned hard. I lost a lot of money there. So I decided to take a break. I started doing Airbnb arbitrage. So I have a few properties in Gainesville, Florida. I took a break from trading to do that for a little bit, so have some sort of income coming in. And then at the beginning of the year, I got back into trading and found TFT, and it's been a journey ever since.
Wow. So, what made you to come back?
I love trading. I love the numbers. I love finance. I love the whole industry. Like, I find it fascinating, and like the art of mastering this is it's a hobby. It becomes a hobby. It becomes a job in reality. You can dedicate doing this full time. Like, there's endless potential for it's just
Definitely
if you master the craft of this.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about the learning process? Did you have any mentors? Did you learn everything by yourself? How was the learning curve?
I started by myself, which is a huge mistake. You should never do that. But like most people, you're like, oh yeah, I could figure this out totally. And like, it's definitely not something to try to figure out on your own. I found Trader's Reality, actually. Tino from Trader's Reality, shout out to him. But he was a huge help in understanding like market makers and like he has something called a hybrid system, which is it kind of is like ICT in a lot of ways, but it's a little different formula, I guess, but it's just about liquidity above all. Like, where's the liquidity? Where's the market? Where are the market makers taking the market? And his understanding of it was very simple and easy to digest. And after watching him for about a year and seeing like the way he moves, like it kind of something clicked in my head about it. And the indicators he provides also are a huge help. Yeah, I can definitely show you after, but it's basically just like high volume candles and like fair value gaps, things like that, and breaks of structure. It's not that difficult. It's just which way is it going though? You got a 50-50 chance either way. So
yeah. And what are the failures that you cherish the most?
The values?
The failures.
Failures. Oh man,
because we've all had many.
You need to fail. So like, if you don't fail in this business, you're gonna fail. Like there's if you start out trading and you're lucky enough to like make a profit in the beginning, like you better watch out because the failure will come for you. Like there's no
definitely.
That's you have to be okay with failing because like I've had my first funded account. I blew in the first week, like you're like, how could you do that? Like because you go from these challenges where you're like trying to be aggressive and like try to replicate that into a funded account. It's impossible because in your mind you're like, oh, I just made $26,000 for the challenge for in a week, or like in a couple of weeks. Oh, I could do the same thing on a funded. Can't. Like, no, you cannot. Like, don't think that. Don't have a mentality, like you gotta, whatever you did on your challenge, you gotta do half the amount on funded account. Failure is part of this business. You have to be okay with losing. I lose almost every day. My loss to win rate is terrible, but I make more than I lose. So that's the important thing. You can lose a lot. As long as you're making more than you're losing, that's probably the most important thing, and to understand that it's okay.
Yeah. So what was was there any like significant moment that was eye-opening for you? Like when you felt like this is like that you cracked the code, that you understood like what kind of game it is, and like the switch to profitability. from being unprofitable to becoming profitable. Was there any significant moment that made this transformation, or it came just with time and experience?
A little bit of both. I mean, time and experience will give you that understanding of risk management above all. Everyone talks about that. Like that is the key to risk management is everything. Like if you're placing a risky trade, you better put your stop like, at least like a break even or profit or whatever. It's just like a little bit, just in case if you have to re-enter. Like it's not the end of the world. Like better to do that than like put your stop, and lose $1,000 below where, and then it still continues and you try to re-enter and it's still going against you. Like it's just, you gotta understand the charts more than anything, and like keep your risk like tight and in a way that you're comfortable with above all. Because like I have a much riskier personality than a lot of people, so I'm okay with like risk. But some people freak out if they lose $500. To me, that's on a daily basis. Like that's not, as long as you make 1,000 back, it's not a problem. Like also like knowing when you're wrong. Knowing when you're wrong is the hardest thing to admit to yourself. You cannot have these biases that, oh no, I'm right. This has to go this direction because of this, and it's never like that. The market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. That is the best thing I've ever heard. It could go against you forever, and like you can continue to short it and whatever, or long it, and it'll keep going against you, and then you will blow an account. And that is, you have to know when to switch. Basically, that's one of the hardest. That and knowing when to take your profit. If it doesn't hit your take profit, but it gets so close, but you're like, no, it's so close. Just take it. Like whatever, the extra couple $100 or $1,000, whatever it is, like it won't make that big of a difference. What will make a difference is if it goes back to your entry, which has happened to me multiple times.
And you get mad.
Terrible. Like, yeah, that's the worst feeling. So I think that's just things we struggle with the most is like knowing when to get out and knowing when to switch directions.
Yeah. How did you like work on it? How did you? Was it like back testing?
A little bit back testing, more like experience. Like I'm fortunate enough that my Airbnb business is very self-sufficient. Like I don't really have to. It does itself. I don't really have to do much there. So I do. I dedicated my time to doing this full time. So I watch the charts all day long, and like I don't do anything else right now. So for the last year, actually, I haven't done anything else. So I think if you have the ability to dedicate your time to something like that, you learn what the market does, and you learn the reversals. You learn where its support and resistance are. Like if you study an asset and focus on that asset, and you can get a feeling for what it's going to do constantly, and like what that when it's oversold, overbought, yeah, sure, but it could keep going, it could keep selling, it could keep like there's never an end. Like it ends when the market maker says it ends. Like experience is everything in this business. Like if you don't have the time to really dedicate to studying this, it doesn't have to be like a full day. You could back test it. You could study the chart at the end of the day and see. Like I do that all the time. When I have a losing day, I go back at 5 o'clock in that hour break. I'm always like what did I do wrong today? How did I lose 5% of my account today? Like how is that possible? Like so then I do study what I did wrong and why I was wrong, and like okay, I was wrong, and then learn not to repeat
learning from the mistakes.
It's harder to perform that because you always I continue to make the same stupid mistakes all the time, but the trick is recognizing them faster and getting out and direction. Like
what are the most common mistakes that you usually do?
Oh man, I always long resistance and short support. I have done that like forever. Like this morning I did that. Like and I feel so stupid because I always tell myself, I'm like, you don't do that. Like that's one thing you don't do. And like for some reason I'm always like, oh no, it's gonna continue going, like because it has to, because there's a fair value gap there. It has to go up, So, and then you're like, no, it's our resistance. Like it's not gonna go up. Like so then you have to get out and switch and hope that you can recover whatever you just lost and then some, and that's usually what happens. But it's just like that's one of the hardest things I struggle with. And always my biggest struggle is knowing when to get out. Like on Friday I got stuck.
You get greedy.
yeah, you get greedy because you're like, no, it's gonna go there. It has to go there. There's a massive gap there. It has to go there. Like, nope, it got stuck. It didn't move, and it consolidated for hours. And I'm like, you know what? I'm out. Like, that's probably the biggest struggle.
I see. I see. What skills did you have to develop to become profitable, and how did you work on those skills?
Yeah, risk management is a big one, and then just lot size. Lot size is like you can't treat your funded accounts as a challenge. That because on a challenge, I trade gold like only.
What is the difference? Like, how do you trade the challenges and how do you trade the funded account?
Super aggressive on challenges. I go 10, 20, 30, 40 lots. I max out like if I have to. Like
how much do you risk like per percentage per trade?
That's the one thing about me. I'm not your average trader in that way. Like I'm not about necessarily risk reward. I'm just about the target. Like I'm willing to lose, like to burn the account to get that target. Wow. Like like for a challenge, not for my funded. My funded, I stick to 4% max a day. Like that's where I cut it. And then I'm like, but the biggest thing I've learned from having funded accounts is to never just have one. If you get one, great. Like barely get another one before you even start trading on that first one. Like work on challenges constantly. I have 2 funded accounts now, and I still work on challenges. I'm trying to get at least max funding plus have backups. Like because since when the first time I got,
of course, it's good to have like lots of backups.
So and on top of it, on a daily basis, like if you hit that 4% on one account, and like there's still enough time in the day, because that's also the part of it. If like you were stupid enough to burn that 4% by 9 a.m., like you still have the whole day ahead of you. Like you can make it back on the other account and not risk your first account, in that way. Like, and I've done that in the past. That's how I got this payout, because I since I have the 2 accounts, I see I'm down on one account, so I'm like, you know what, like let me try my other account where I have a little bit more buffer. Let me see what I can do there, and then I usually make up the difference there. Like. But yeah, on challenges, I go crazy. Like, I don't care to burn them just to get the target. Like, but mainly the way I trade structure, it's not about risk reward. Like sometimes I'll enter late, but if it doesn't breach the structure of the day, like then it's fine to me. Like even if it's much more than the 1-to-5 or 1-to-1 ratio. Like it's, I mean, it's about the chart. It's very difficult to do something like that and put like, oh yeah, the 1%. Okay, on a funded account, you can do not risk more than 1%. And realistically, I try to risk 0.5% per trade in a funded account. On a challenge, it could be 3% if the structure ends at the 3% mark. If that's just where I was able to cancel, it's fine. Like, and I'm like I've passed so many phases. Phase 1, phase 2 I struggle with. I think I've had like 4 or 5 funded accounts.
Why do you think that you struggle with phase 2?
Because you try to replicate what you just did in phase 1, and it doesn't necessarily work out. And it should be easier, but it's always harder. It's always hard to. It's not, and like no one can say it's the market conditions, because like I have funded accounts. Like I experienced a market condition in the funded account, and so there's no difference in reality. Like I don't see a difference. Everyone complain about slippage and all that. I don't get slipped. I've except for that 1 week that everyone was complaining that there was like a massive difference. Like I actually didn't even trade that week because I was waiting for my funded account, and I was waiting for a phase 2, so I actually couldn't trade anything. Like, and I was like, I'll wait for this to resolve itself. But I don't see those issues in a funded or in a challenge. Like, so
that's good. That's good. Yeah. Let's touch a little bit on the technical part. Would you like to share the screen and show us how you analyze the charts and maybe an example of a trade?
This is my daily part. Yeah, so it's chaos, but this is what I look at all day, aside from MT4. Like MT4, I enter trades on the 1 minute, but I base everything off the 5 minute, which is what I see on TradingView. The 5 minute, 30 minute, the DXY, and Euro, because you can see gold sort of follows Euro in a weird way, but not necessarily always. It's not like a mirror image of the DXY. Like gold is not a mirror image of the DXY the way Euro is. But if you see like these gaps here, if Euro is going to fill them, you can see that gold's probably going to go up as well,
Mm-hmm. So,
But
so let me try to understand everything. That you trade gold and Euro USD, right? Or you
no,
trade more?
I just trade gold. I don't trade anything
I only
else.
trade gold. Okay,
I
okay.
used to trade US 30, but like I got burned too much on that too. Like you
So
get it, you know?
yeah, so I can see that you have like many moving averages,
Yeah,
and you have the volume indicator,
yeah. I
and
bought.
I can see that you have the RSI there. Like, can you tell us a little bit like how do you analyze? How do you frame a trade idea?
Okay, so these indicators are really just like a confluence for me. Like I use a
Mm-hmm,
trader reality indicator, which is like where you see like these you know, big volume candles here.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And and then the yellow is pretty much like a fair value gap, which always gets recovered at some point. They're gonna come back here. Like you know that they're gonna
mm-hmm,
come back here. So on the 5 minute, basically, my strategy is like, okay, so this W that happened here, this little W here, that was a reversal sign to me. So when this candle broke through the top of this candle, that was a long entry to like for the scalp here. I only scalp, I only day trade, intraday trade. I
mm-hmm,
don't swing trade, I don't hold anything overnight. So but the move, like the move I took this morning was from about, let's say here. Yeah, the break of the Asia high. I took this, I wrote it down, and I held it too long, so I got out probably around like here. And once I
mm-hmm,
saw this happen, I got out of that. I switched and I wrote it, and I just got off before this interview about here.
mm-hmm,
But yeah, basically my analysis is fair value gaps above all. Like that's pretty much what I'm looking for. On a
mm-hmm,
higher time frame, it's better. Like you can tell that this morning, London made these big moves up here. They pushed gold all the way up here, and there
mm-hmm,
was these two high volume fair value gaps, which I knew that they were probably going to come back to if they weren't going to take this one up here. So since they didn't take this one up here, when New York opened, New York went and recovered this one and the one below it. So
mm-hmm,
and I was hoping they would recover the one below that even all the way down here, like here and here, but it didn't happen. So now they're working their way back up to probably recover this one before
mm-hmm.
continuing. That's like my analysis for the most part.
Okay. So do you do top-down analysis, or it's just like, do
Yeah,
you go on a weekly, daily, or you don't go that high?
I do. I go weekly, daily,
Mm-hmm.
hourly. Like at the start on a Sunday, I'll usually see what the weekly looks like. You know, see like where we're at and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
what's still left to be recovered or what above or below because there's still this big one until 1870 needs to be recovered, which you know will happen eventually. You know, go to the daily looks terrible. So you know you can kind of get a sense of direction above all. I use a lot of on MT4. I use a lot of moving averages because with gold, you'll
Mm-hmm.
notice that, especially on the 5 minute, gold likes to follow the 5 and 13 EMA.
Mm-hmm.
If like usually it'll come and tap it, and that's a good short opportunity if it's already on a downward like spiral here. You
Mm-hmm.
can like you could have at any one of these points when it went here, you could have shorted it to there, or even like you know here when it came back up and it kind of breached it but didn't really close above it. That was another like quick scalp right there. The second you see it breach the 5, the 13, and the 21, and it closes above the 21, that's probably a sign of reversal to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, and I can see as well the MACD, but you just use them for extra How do you look at them? Do you look at divergence in
Yeah.
RSI, or you look at overbought, oversold?
Yeah, I really look at like the RSI on MT4 more than anything in terms of like to figure out divergences. I just have this as, again as more of a confluence, like just to
Mm-hmm.
sure my analysis is on point. But these indicators, I honestly rarely look at unless like I'm very confused on what's going on.
Okay, but you just like to have a lot on the chart.
Yeah, I a lot of people love the clean charts. Like I love the chaos. Like to me, I understand it, and that's kind of all that matters, you know.
Yeah, of course. How are you dealing with the losing streak? Do you have like emotional challenges while you're in a losing streak?
When my funded accounts go negative, that's probably like the most annoying thing, because the only thing I do from that, like the next day, because I wait for the data, and I really do everything to keep my funded accounts now. So like if the firm ever follows, like copies my trades, they should copy my trades when I'm in drawdown, because I usually make it back like very quick. Like the next day I will get it at least back to initial balance quick. Like and then I'll close there and like around there, and then unless like the move continues, but I will make sure my stop is at like a little bit above initial balance, like because like on Friday that happened to me. I was down 8K on Thursday on one of my accounts. And on Friday, I saw the news came in bad. There was a spike, took the spike, like shorted it, wrote it down, and I ended up 2K over initial balance, and like hoping for more, but you got to take what the market gives you. It's only more frustrating having your funded account go negative, but I mean, drawdown is part of the business. Like the hardest thing is when you're in like a phase 2 and you've got like $200 left in drawdown, and then you're like, shit, I can't do anything. Like I'm gonna fail. I'm gonna breach. Like there's no, it's almost impossible. Like you could take your sweet time, or you just buy another challenge. Like I'm in a situation like that right now. I have a phase 2 that literally has, and it had $1,000. I brought it back to initial balance. I got it above that, and then like a moron, I brought it back to, I have $200 left to breach that account. Yeah, so it's part of the business. If as long as you have at least $1,000 in drawdown available to you, you can always turn it around. So I've done that. Like it's you have to understand that drawdown is part of this. You're in drawdown the second you open a trade. There's always, like, especially with gold, there's a 12 point spread. So like the second you open the trade, you're in drawdown. Like it's this game is mental. Psychology is everything in business, and as long as you have a strong head and you're confident in what you're doing, and like confident enough to know that when you're wrong, you can either switch directions or wait for the next move. Like that's the key. That's the biggest struggle we all face here.
Yeah. What are the things that you discovered about yourself that you weren't aware of before you started with trading?
How comfortable I am with risk.
Really?
You got to be. I'm not a gambler. I don't like, we have casinos here. Like I never do that. Like I never go. My wife hates that stuff. Like I never trade. I never gamble or anything like that. But with trading, it's more of like an educated guess. Because everyone can say, "Oh yeah, it's like gambling." It's not. It is, but it's not. Like you can. There's an analysis here. Like you have a better understanding of things. But like sometimes I'll show people in the Discord like how much drawdown I'm in, or like comebacks I've made, and they're like, how do you let it go like that? I'm like, because I'm comfortable with it. Like it's okay. I know that I can make it back. Like because I've done so many challenges. I think like if you do like 20 challenges the way I have, you learn to trade better in the challenges with the rules and everything like that than if you were to blow like a personal account with like $1,000 in it. Like you may think of it differently and whatever, but like you learn to stay within the parameters, to really focus on, at the very least, not breaching the daily drawdown. Like sometimes I get within $200 of that, and like I freak out, I close everything out just to like not breach, and then you start over the next day, you make it back. I've done that so many times, especially with challenges, that you just have to have the confidence in yourself to not let it get to you. And like that's something that is very difficult, that I learned, like that I'm okay with that. Like, it's you have to have the confidence within yourself to know that you can make more from this, and like learn from the lessons, take the lessons, learn from it, and always take what the market gives you.
Yeah. How did trading change different aspects of your life, if it did?
In the beginning, when I started trading crypto, my wife was so pissed because I lost so much money, and I would not stop looking at the charts 24 hours a day. I would wake up in the middle of the night seeing what was going on, and that's a terrible way to live. It's not a good work-life balance.
Yeah, definitely.
It's an addiction, and like you should never be. Then it becomes a gambling thing, Like once I took my break from trading, like, and I came back and I said, okay, I'm gonna stick to the New York, like the end of London, or like New York, and kill it there. And like a worst case, go into like the beginning of Asia, but like not. I actually don't even do that so much anymore. But like I would stop there and like so I could like relax and have dinner with my wife and like watch TV and like not be staring at charts the whole time, you know, and like that's one of the hardest things about this is that since it's a 24-hour business, like you always feel like you're missing out on something. But the very truth of it all is there's always another trade. There's a trade every single day. Like, you know, if you follow ICT or whatever, it's got that silver bullet strategy. There's a trade every single day at some point, like in any asset. Like the market moves. Like that's one of the hardest thing people suffer with is like, yeah, like last night I missed the move of gold from 1923 to 1933. That's $10. That potentially could be like $10,000, but whatever. Like I slept well, I'll tell you that. Like, you know, I got a good night of sleep, so it's fine. Like you'll always find something else out there.
Of course, of course. Is there anything that you wish you did different from the beginning? Like, let's say if you're about to start now, knowing everything that you know, which steps would you take? What would you change to make your journey easier?
Never traded before? Find a mentor or find someone that knows how to trade and is profitable trading. And like, you know, it doesn't need to be ICT, but it could be like, you know, people swear by the system. Or like Trader's Reality. Tino is great. He does it in a very fun way, and it's not, you know, and he's a very genuine person. And like if you do his Patreon, he's got like live trading videos. So like he shows you his the way he trades, and like so you get a better psychological, and he talks through the trade, so you understand what is going on in his mind when he's taking or losing these trades. Like the best thing about him is that if he's losing a trade, he still leaves it. He doesn't edit the video. Like he
shows the real picture. Yeah. He shows how it is.
Instead of these like all these fake influencers that only posting gains, you know, like and like those are probably demo accounts. He's showing you like on his live account, or he's actually the one who turned me on to the Funded Trader because he did a video about him completing a challenge. So that I was like, oh, this is interesting, you know, like that's how I got kind of turned on to this. Like his videos are great in that respect. So you need to find a mentor, someone who knows what they're doing, and like at least follow them. And start small, demo trade. Obviously, like you should demo trade. Like, and if you're not going to demo trade, if you just want to jump into it, buy a challenge. You know, buy a small challenge and see if you can, or even do the demo challenge. You know, to stick to the parameters, because the parameters that are put here are good fundamental parameters to have in any type of day trading. You know, like you should never lose more than 5% a day. If you do, you need to stop. Like that's the truth of it. The other thing I would say is like doing the funded programs, like. I struggled with like the 100K accounts because the daily drawdown was like too little for my kind of strategy. If you find that you're struggling with that, like I found that the 200K was actually a lot better for me. The 300K was a little bit too difficult, like to achieve that amount in the time frame I wanted. But I've completed at least say like 10 phase ones of the 200K. Like you know, like to me. Some people are like, oh yeah, you can start with a 25, 50K. Like, yeah, that could work for you. Like, but if you're struggling with it, I told my friend the other day, I was like, try a 200K. You keep failing these 100K ones. Like, just try it. And he passed, and he did better on it because mentally, when you have a much bigger like money amount of drawdown, like you can leave room. You know, you can leave a little room for yourself, and you won't freak out that you're gonna breach the account. So. That's something that like a lot of people in the Discord are like, oh yeah, you should start with a 50K and then work your way up, and then that didn't work for me at all. Like
it depends on the strategy. Like if people are trading with percentages, then yes, you can apply it on any account size. But if your trade management is different, then you can do that, obviously. So it's individual. It's about like figuring out what works for you and not looking at what others are doing.
That's his whole business. So like, especially in the programs, like you need to know what kind, like your strategy, as long as you back tested it, done demos, or like at least completed a phase one, like it works. Obviously you did something right. You figured something out. Like, you know, like if you're able to do that, I think that there's nothing stopping you from getting a funded account. It's all in your head.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned TFT. How is your experience with us?
So far, I think you guys are the best. I've actually tried very hard to find a comparable prop firm, and I've struggled with it because I really like take advantage of those promo codes. So like if a prop firm doesn't offer at least 90%, like I won't even look at it, to be honest. Like, or even a promo for that. Then on top of it, the rules. Like I love the drawdown rules here because even I brought my account to it was like 12%, right? That was his payout. So, but my drawdown is still up to 180, 180K. So like a lot of other firms, what they do is that once you like you go past 6% or something like that, then your drawdown is back to your initial balance. And it's like I've taken my accounts below my initial balance and brought them back up 10%. Like it happens. So I love TFTs. They really figured something out. Like you guys have the best rules, best system. My payout came real quick. I have zero complaints about that. Like the only improvement I wish I would recommend is for the Royal Challenge to not have minimum trading days. Like if you used to do that, you'd be perfect in my mind. Like that's always my struggle. It's like I usually beat a challenge in a day or two, and then I'm sitting around just like placing like micro lots to just finish out the trading days. And then the same thing what happens with phase 2. Like I either finish or breach it in a couple of days, and like then I'm stuck waiting. So that'd be the only thing. But
maybe the rapid is better for you.
The drawdown and like the leverage, and I love the Royal Challenge. Honestly, I think you guys did an amazing job with that, and to me, it's still my favorite. And I to this day, I haven't been able to find another prop firm that can compare. So I'm really happy with TFT, and I look forward to like long.
I'm glad to hear.
Yeah,
I'm glad to hear that. So, what are the plans moving forward with trading and in general?
I mean, my goal is to not breach these accounts because I know it's like a statistic that the second you get a good payout, like you're gonna breach the account. But I think that I kind of figured out my way of keeping them, and honestly, to me, I'm trying to make this my full-time job in a lot of ways. I'm like for my family, my wife, I'm not extravagant. I don't need a Lambo. I don't need any of that stuff. Just like I'm just trying to make a good living, and with TFT's help, hopefully, we can continue doing that.
Yeah. Do you have any last words that you would like to share with us?
Yeah. Always have confidence in yourself. Never doubt it. If you're struggling, see what you're doing wrong, find a mentor, things like that. Don't give up. I've done 20 challenges so far. Like, don't ever give up. Like, you might fail 5 before you get 1, but once you get that 1, like your life changes. Like your entire mentality changes about it. Like just don't if I know the statistics are against you, but if you really work hard at this, like you will succeed. It's just you have to commit to it.
Yeah. It's about not giving up and improving every single day, learning from the mistakes.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for your time and for sharing your experience with us. I wish you best of luck with trading. Keep the accounts, get more accounts, and I hope that we're going to have a follow-up interview when you hit the maximum allocation.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thanks. See you too. To all of you watching, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and show us some love in the comments down below. Trade safe, and until next time.